Back in the day when these shows were the very definition of top drawer entertainment, my dad once made a harmless little joke. And now a part of me still worries about eating apples. Because when I was a kid, he told me to watch out and be careful. Because if I accidentally swallowed one of these little seeds, an apple tree will start to take root inside my stomach and will grow and grow and grow until finally erupting from out the top of my head like Harold here. From Fallout, not from Neighbours. So yeah, cheers Dad for that one. But I wonder if this stuff happens to today's kids. If they're gullible to this sort of knowledge gap joke, or if they just hop onto the internet and immediately cure themselves of their ignorance. Because as a member of the generation which remembers the arrival of the internet, I do feel that knowing all of the facts can't help but remove some of the fun and silliness from life. I mean, look at Derren Brown or Dynamo, with their tricks which we know aren't magic, but which do still manage to thrill and enthrall us, as we get to exist for a brief moment in the void between what we know is possible and what our eyes have just seen. Whereas when we know how the trick is done, it does spoil the fun, but it's not like we never used to have curiosity or the desire to figure out and understand the world. It's just that we couldn't immediately ask Google, and not even Google. Do you remember Yahoo or even AOL? So what did we used to do? Well, we'd just ask our friends.
Simples.
They'd give us the wrong answer and we'd carry that misinformation for like 20 or 30 years. I guess when you think about it, the amount of kind of wrong-headed and incorrect beliefs everyone was rocking around with is nuts. Look, maybe this happened to you as well. My friends started learning karate. Now, obviously I'd heard of karate. I'd heard about guys chopping through bricks with their bare hands. So when my friends returned with stories of their fists being forged into lethal weapons, what could I do but join them in this quest to become the ultimate killing machine? And I don't mean to brag here, but I did actually achieve my orange belt, which makes me pretty dangerous. As 90s kids, we simply accepted the local village hall to be the place to learn lethal, deadly self-defense techniques, and that the dude with a ponytail was some sort of world-class grandmaster guru. When in hindsight, he was probably just scouting for which of the mums were single and available. It's like the beliefs we hold first sink their claws deepest into the recesses of our minds. And once burrowed in so securely, they're very tricky to dislodge, no matter how many facts and figures we throw at them. Thankfully, I have managed to reconcile myself to the painful reality that I'm not actually tough just because I said "Hiya" a few times when I was a kid. But this fact don't change the reality of my karate experience having been fun and enjoyable. An experience which I still remember 30 odd years later, regardless of the wrongness of my information at the time. So who gives a shit really that I didn't learn the ultimate, actually practical and optimal self-defense techniques which could save my life against a pack of armed muggers? Because what can I say? I know everyone likes to pretend they're from the mean streets, but I am the middlest of the middle class and I have never even nearly been mugged. It's like there's some weird psychology going on here, even though we now supposedly have all the answers to everything and all the information that humanity has ever collated at our fingertips. We, you, me and everyone else, still has funny blind spots in our view of the world. But these blind spots and mistaken beliefs don't destroy our enjoyment. I mean, even with the internet shining its hyper bright searchlight onto the nooks and crannies of delusions and false beliefs, there's still pockets of guys who think these alternative techniques like karate and Aikido or Krav Maga are actually the best, despite zero UFC fighters using any of these techniques in the cage. So whilst you might say these guys are a bit deluded, they seem happy enough, and there's no big bad consequences for the world at large of them being a bit silly, provided they're not trying to act like real superheroes and getting themselves stabbed up. So what is the problem with having funny ideas? The rise of AI has given us an unprecedented glut of information, but are we happier because of this? Have the answers which ChatGPT has brought us removed and eliminated the challenges and difficulties of being a human man in 2026? I mean, sure, I can get a quick and distilled understanding about any aspect of the human experience, and so never fall for any Appleseed type jokes ever again. But what do I lose by prioritising this distillation of information above all else? I mean, since we're talking about distilling things, the Lord of the Rings could be distilled to: a short man goes for a long walk, then throws a small ring into a big hole. A summary which does kind of knock off the emotional weight of the valleys and pinnacles of the stories, and the sense of adventure created by the experience of joining the characters on their journey throughout the hours you'd spend together whilst reading the actual books, or even watching the movies. Well, what if I don't want to miss out on these experiences, on these valleys and pinnacles? What if I like the adventure and the surprise and the enjoyment which comes from allowing a little bit of space for the unknown? It's almost like the value of life lives within the experience of the journey rather than the arrival at any sort of destination. Because when we leave a little ignorance and naivety, we actively create the space for this sense of discovery and excitement to exist. We each understand intuitively that there's more involved with living a good life than simply collecting more and more facts, and that we also have parts of ourselves, parts outside of the logical, rational bits, that sometimes behave in ways which don't even make sense to ourselves. Think about the last time you said yes to your boss, even though logically you know you're already swamped. Perhaps because the sense of discomfort around the idea of saying no feels too awkward. So it's just nod along and try to somehow manage the increasingly overwhelming workload. It seems obvious that there's a big old chasm between how many facts we know and how good our life is. The chasm of what goes on within our own minds versus why we do and don't do the things we dream of doing. Perhaps this is because, as modern people, we are maxed out from having to process and categorise all the information we get bombarded with on a daily basis. And that's not even considering the deliberately difficult to process information we get fed from the news or social media algorithms, which target our innate tendency to prioritise the importance of negativity and danger as a part of our survival mechanism. Our systems are being so stressed by the world around us, our emotional energy all gets spent. So we're less able to successfully handle the tangible day-to-day events which actually have the biggest impact on our individual little spheres of the world. So we end up staying in this cycle of feeling stuck in the same place, going nowhere fast. Since I cut down the deluge of information flooding my senses, my life is way better. Since I finally learnt the lesson from my karate experience and stopped obsessing over trying to find the best and the right and the optimal ways to do every little thing. And since I paid less attention to what everyone else is doing and telling me to do as well, I've been able to understand better what it is that I want to do. And I've discovered a reservoir of untapped emotional energy that I can now spend on my family and friends. And now I simply find myself enjoying the ride a little more. So whilst I may not be right all the time, just ask my ex-girlfriends, I feel more confident and comfortable in myself because I am at least me all the time. Which has been kind of surprising and also a pretty cool feeling. So if more information hasn't delivered you from life's problems like you thought it would, maybe a little more ignorance will make you feel better instead. And I feel like this topic is one that comes up, at least in my world, fairly regularly in the conversations I have with people, but I never see these ideas discussed online. And certainly not in the little sub 20-second short form videos which have been popular over the last few years. So now you've enjoyed this video, why not hit like and subscribe, because you'll be continuing to support more work like this. And let me know in the comments what's on your mind. I've been Ian Dowie, not the old Palace manager. Cheers for watching.